Moving along the line, sitting very patiently just next to me with his box for Adopt a Buick Swan. This is Mark. He's from Wildfowl and Wetlands Trust. Welcome along, Mark. So tell us about swans. Let's just start with some of the really basic facts, like how many different kinds of swan do we have?
There are 3 species of swan in the UK. The one that people have been most familiar with is the mute swan. That's the one with the bright orange or pinky red beak, so you'll be familiar with that one. Then there's the hooper swans that come into the north of the country. They migrate from Greenland and Iceland and areas like that. And you've got the Buick swan, which comes all the way from Siberia every year.
Which I always just think is incredible just to think of their journey. And on the subject of the Buick Swan, many people may remember the epic journey of Sasha, one of your team, as she went sort of flying below or tracing the journey of the Buick Swan.
Yeah, Sasha started that last September and finished in December. And the reason why she did this amazing trip was because the Buick Swans come down to the UK every year. In 1995, they peaked at 29,000 birds. The last 20 years or so, lost nearly half of them. So if the problem continues for another 20 odd years, there won't be any coming, which is a huge worry, really.
What did she find along the way?
All kinds of reasons why the swans are reducing in numbers. There's habitat loss, there's pollution, there's hunting is a big issue as well. So Sasha stopped on the way several times to speak to school groups, hunting bodies, conservation organisations, to find out the things we don't know about. We know a lot about what is happening with them, but there's obviously a lot we don't know as well. So that's what she did.
It was incredible that she was up there flying. Just bonkers and incredible at the same time. But also hearing the kinds of conversations that she was having with the people that she met along the way, thinking, I think she's sort of around southern Russia, that kind of part of the world, maybe Albania.
Yeah, because the swans don't go overseas, they come from a land flight. So they basically start in Russia and come through 11 countries, over 7,000 kilometres, through Estonia and places like that. And some of the people she met were quite amazing people in conservation-wise, certainly.
I think she also changed people's minds about things as well, didn't she?
Yeah, there's been a huge reaction to the project, and there's 11 countries involved altogether, lots of government, lots of NGOs, lots of conservation organisations. And the issue is really easily highlighted now. We're going to go back and follow it up this year and hopefully get some good results out of it.
Now, you've spent a lot of time around different swans. Many of us may well have, just seen a couple of them swimming along the river and kind of marvelled at how beautiful they are. But what kind of characters do they have? Because you'll know them better than we do, and their sort of behaviours.
Yeah, and there's a big fallacy that a swan can break your arm with its wing, but that is just one of those myths, I'm afraid. They're reasonably gentle creatures. You can go up and hand feed them most of the time. The only time they do get a little bit of territory is at nesting times. Obviously, you don't want to go anywhere near the nest because the male won't like that too much.
Yeah. And where are we at in terms of the seasons and breeding patterns, nesting and all that side of things? So we're at the start of June. What are swans up to?
Well, the swans in this country are already nested and most of them have their cygnets now. The Buick swans are back in Siberia will be doing the same thing over there, and they'll stay there all summer, our summer. Then at the end of September, October time, they'll take the 2 to 4 week journey back down to Slimbridge again.
So just recap, so that's how long it takes them to go from where they start off to here?
Yeah, 2 to 4 weeks in general, and then they'll stay here from mid-October to the end of February, then they'll fly all the way back again.
How long can they fly for in one go?
They can do hundreds and hundreds of miles. They really are superb flyers. And they can probably do the journey in, say, 2 weeks. They're 7,000 kilometres, so.
Without I'm curious to know, what do they go, a couple of days without stopping, or can they sleep on the wing?
It depends on the weather, really. If it's really good weather conditions, they just keep going until they get here. But if the weather's really bad, like the wind and rain, then they'll just hunker down and stop for a while and start again.
Yeah. You're usually at Slimbridge, aren't you?
Well, I'm a membership recruiter, so I work all over the county, but the headquarters is Slimbridge, yeah.
Yeah. What have you got at Slimbridge that people might not know?
We've got all 6 species of flamingo at the centre, which is the only place in the whole world you see all six species of flamingo together. It's the largest flock of flamingos in the country, and you can name them all if you like to. But
Are they all pink? Let's start with that bit.
They're all pink, yeah.
That's the extent of my knowledge. Go on then, you can tell us about them.
I'd say there's 6 species all over the world, and Slimbridge is the only place you'll see those flamingos, and they really are quite a big size, especially the big flock of greater flamingos we've got because they come from Africa and they're the largest species and they are quite a sight.
You know, it's funny actually, because I grew up not a million miles from there in North Wiltshire, and I can remember going to see them, and it's one of those memories that's just totally imprinted in my brain, because I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, they really are a good sight to see. I've actually been lucky enough to see them in the wild in Tanzania and Kenya, so
Oh, really? What? And how many would you see?
thousands. Yeah, literally thousands.
Okay, that is impressive. Let's talk about the box that you have then. I mean, we've mentioned the Buick Swan, but this is an offer that you have for people. They might like to do this.
Yeah, if you come down to our marquee today, you can learn more about what we've done over the last few months involving Buick Swans. We've got Sasha's paramotor, the first one that she took off in the start of her journey. Unfortunately, she damaged her knee on takeoff one day and dislocated the knee, but didn't stop her. She kept going.
I know, I heard her talking about this, and I just thought, oh my goodness.
Yeah, very, very brave woman, absolutely. Yeah, so we've got that paramotor down at the marquee, then we've got all the information about the flight of the Swans itself, and a few facts and figures for you to come and learn about. And if you like, you can also adopt a Buick Swan. And you get an individual swan as well, because Peter Scott was the first person to recognise that you can recognise individual swans by their beak markings. So you can tell each individual swan by the beak markings.
Oh, really? So just like small differences, how much black there is on there, or little flecks of grey?
Yeah, absolutely. It's very, very subtle differences in some places, but some there's quite strikingly different, so yeah. But our experts at Slimbridge will know every single swan that comes into Slimbridge just by looking at it.
So for 48 quid, you can get your own Berwick Swan and follow its progress?
Yep, our own individual swan, named swan, so you're following a particular bird, not just a species, but a particular bird, yeah. And there's loads of updates every year, and you can follow the migration route.
Fabulous. So that's an offer you can get here this weekend. Just in terms of wetlands and ponds and areas for our creatures like this to go to, how are we faring on that front across the country?
Unfortunately, wetlands have been disappearing over many hundreds of years, actually. Over the last 100 years or so, the world's lost half the wetlands they've had. The wetland can be anywhere from a puddle to a huge lake. So if you can do yourself a favour and the natural world a favour and put a pond in your garden, it all helps.
Yeah, I know probably about 10 years ago now, one of the wildlife trusts, where my mum and dad are, they're farmers, they helped to put back a pond that used to be there many, many years ago. And then the wildlife that comes to it, it's just phenomenal how they just know.
Yeah, if you put a pond in your garden, the wildlife will find it. There was a few years ago, there was a guy, a friend of mine, he put a pond in. He was surrounded by a road system, no greenery as such. A few days later, a family of mutes moved in. So how they found their way there, we don't know, but they do.
This is just the mystery, isn't it, that I love?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
In terms of how birds see from the sky, I'm sure you'll have been asked this question, but how they spot where the waters are.
They've kind of got a mental map in their head. There's gravitational forces as well. There's lots of things involved, but we just think they've got sites of various landmarks that they look at to recognise where they're going now.
Okay, well, Mike, thank you very much. Mark, where can people find you? You're just around the corner, aren't you?
We're over the other side of these other systems, over there somewhere.
Basically, what he means is you need to leave Millennium Square with your back to the big screen and then head in the direction of the food, do a left, really, and you're along there, aren't you?
Absolutely, yeah, in the corner over there, yeah.
Okay, go and have a little ramble around there. Thank you very much, Mark. From the Wildfowl and Wetlands Trust, talking about Buick Swans, one of their campaigns here at the Festival of Nature.